What if I told you the greatest money book of all time was written 250 years ago and has almost nothing to do with money? This book is The Way to Wealth by Benjamin Franklin. Not only is it the best of the best when it comes to money advice, this book has everything you need to know when it comes to productivity. Do you love my pink bookmarks? I am ready to dive in. I found this little gem. I'd heard of it before, but when I saw it, it was sitting in a gift shop at the Breakers Mansion, which is where the Vanderbilts used to spend their summers in Newport, Rhode Island. And when I saw it, I was like, that seems like exactly the right book for me on this weekend because it is only 35 pages. But when I started, I was expecting some deep money talk and my eyes were opened. Turns out I discovered some of the best time management advice I've ever heard. First, time is the ultimate wealth. You know, it's one of those things you know, but sometimes when you're not the wealthiest of the wealthy, you can sometimes question yourself. But I read this and I'm like, you know, I knew I was right about that. Time is something that we cannot control. Time is something we cannot even manage. When we say time management, it's not even something we can manage. What we can manage is our energy, and where we apply our energy matters. And Franklin talks about that in this book. But dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. If you love life, then do not squander time, for that is what stuff life is made of. We talk about not wasting time all the time, but it shows up in so many ways. Think about how it might be showing up for you financially. Not just the usual, what is my time worth, but what are you doing with your time that is making it worth less? Complaining, explaining away your problems, rationalizing. We do a lot of things as defense mechanisms and are usually showing up as mirrors for things that we are slightly triggered for. When we waste time on that, we don't make our lives any more valuable. Not just from a financial wellness standpoint, but from a happiness standpoint, but from a time is worth something to me standpoint. Lost time is never found again, and what we call time enough always proves little enough. Let us then up and be doing and doing to the purpose. It can be hard to figure out what exactly your purpose is, but when you are going after something with intention and with the best of intentions for what you hope it will be for your future, that is enough. That's all you can do. And you have enough time for that if you quit squandering it, right? Oh, I don't have enough time for this. I don't have enough time for that. Look at all the time I just took up telling you how much time I do and do not have. Let's stop with that. Having time is wealth. If you want to be wealthy, sit in that, have that, take any time you have, enjoy it, use it. Number 2 is one today is greater than 2 tomorrows. Next is an important one for many of you. It's easier to fight when you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing and you're excited about it. Even if a job feels like a job, you're excited about why you have that purpose and why you're doing it and why you will proceed with it and why you'll go through the hard times in order to stay after it. There's some level of fulfillment and excitement in that makes you do the reps every day. But here's what Franklin says about it. Work while it is called today, for you know not how much you may be hindered tomorrow. One today is worth 2 tomorrows, as Poor Richard says, and farther, never leave that till tomorrow, which you can do today. I just wish everybody knew one thing about this. If you are procrastinating on something that you have 80% of the resources available to you on, and that if you just said, I'm just gonna do it, even though I'm not the right person, I'm gonna do it. I wanna make that video, I have a camera, let's do it. I wanna start writing that book, I don't know everything I need to know about it, but I'm gonna write a page because I have the ability to type, I have the ability to write, I have the ability to put down my thoughts. If you just said, I will do it and not procrastinate if I have 80% of the resources available to me, the other 20% is probably something around imposter syndrome. You cannot get over imposter syndrome until you decide that you are ready when you are doing something, not you are ready before you do something. You will never be fully ready before you do something. So do not procrastinate on what means something to you. Agree that when you do, you are not completely ready. I imagine if I went to go skydive out of a plane, that they would probably push me at the count of 2, even though they trick me into thinking it will be 3. And that would be wise, because I still won't be ready at the 3. Next, industry over idleness. Idle, to idle. You know, the phrase to idle is just like, you think of being in a car and you're like, the car is idling. Who wants a car to idle? Listen, I don't know a lot about cars. I know enough to get me from A to B. But what I don't want is the car to idle. I need it to get me where I'm going. And if you are the vehicle for what you want to happen in your life and you are just there, idle, lots of reasons why, but still idle, then how can we ever pave a path to wealth or better? Industry need not wish, and he who lives upon hope will die fasting. There are no gains without pains. Then help hands, for I have no lands, or if I have, they are smartly taxed. There are no gains without pains. It's funny because it's a cute phrase. It's fun to say, and clearly this is where we get it from. No pain, no gain. But who's to say that your ability to move forward is a painful one? At first, there's some friction, but the momentum that you get is from taking the step at least once and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again, and you grease up the wheel a little bit to keep going with the car thing, and you just get used to it. There was a time where I was a terrible speaker. Actually, speech class comes to mind. What was that, sophomore year of high school? I don't know. I was never elegant in communication. It was not a goal of mine to learn marketing or business. I just thought I was supposed to be the wallflower, fit in somewhere, and do the best I could. But I learned really quickly that no matter what I wanted to do, it didn't matter. It was like you had to learn to communicate. So I got better at it. And you know how I got better at it? Not just talking to people, because that's something I actually don't choose to do on a super consistent basis. Nowadays, I talk to people all the time, but it's not the thing that I actually get my most reps in on. By sitting here and learning how to elegantly explain and teach something on camera, I got those reps in. It made talking to real people much easier and a bit more natural for me. Painful potentially, but not forever. The start is hard, but once you get going, it pays you back. By the way, this is my favorite thing to do. I love to read a book and tell you about why it matters. It's fun for me. So if you're enjoying this and you want to see my next one, please make sure you're subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss a single episode of Amy TV. Definitely not the book chats that we have. So much fun. The wise are early to rise. Oh, I love this one. As the author of Good Morning, Good Life, you knew I was gonna love seeing this one in here, but of course, sloth makes all things difficult, but industry all easy. And he that riseth late must trot all day and shall scarce overtake his business at night. I can't even. I used to think I wanted to have sloth be my spirit animal until I realized that no, I don't. No, I don't. The idea of slowing down and appreciating that slowdown is fantastic. And I want that. I want a little bit of that. But I don't think that my spirit animal could ever be a sloth, because the speed at which I operate, I appreciate so much every day. For some reason, it's exactly who I need to be at all times. And even when it's a little tiresome, I love it. I absolutely love it. And so the fact that they mention the sloth here is so key to this for my brain. While laziness travels so slowly that poverty soon overtakes him. You are slow, and so poverty catches up to you. Just the pace and the wealth and the conversation combined, it is so big. You do not have to wake up at the crack of dawn like I do at 4 a.m. in order for this to work for you. But when you realize that if you're just a little bit faster than the rest of the world, just for a couple minutes at the beginning of a day, that it can make a huge difference for you, wow. I mean, you don't realize it until you are down the road, literal and figurative road, that you have outpaced everyone because of the tiniest step that you took to be disciplined. You didn't have to make sweeping changes all at once. You needed to be consistent with the little things to show what type of character that you have. And that is why we say good morning, good life. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Number 5, debt steals tomorrow's productivity. Oh, this one's gonna hurt a little. I mean, it hurts me because I've been in this situation before, and it actually takes shape in so many different ways, not just in money, but in time. Debt steals tomorrow's productivity. As someone who works in a creative space and is not naturally that creative, this is so true, it's painful. There are days where I just want to sit and be my most creative self, to write a video or to write a book or to come up with some fun idea, something that's going to make the flavor of my work even more fun. But when you are caught behind and the pressure is on, it takes so much joy out of everything. Money debt and time debt are both terrorizing. They will take from your heart and your soul so much. They'll teach you a lot of lessons that you'll overcome, you'll be stronger, and you'll understand adversity a lot better. But at what cost? If you stay ahead, you stay ahead, point blank. Always taking out of the meal tub and never putting in soon comes to the bottom. When the well is dry, they know the worth of water. If you would know the value of money, go and try to borrow some. For he who goes a-borrowing goes a-sorrowing. In what ways have you borrowed money? In what ways have you borrowed time? In what ways have you borrowed something and then felt the gravity of how that transaction equated to much more? If you want to know the value of money, go and try and borrow some. If you want to know the value of time, go borrow some. Some people borrow time in a variety of ways. One way I'm thinking of is that job that you hate. You're basically borrowing time. You give time in return for a paycheck, a consistent paycheck, one that you can rely on. But you've traded time for that, and you end up on borrowed time because you have given away your greatest asset that cannot be recouped for a set price. I know so many people who don't want to be in that trap anymore, and they can't figure their way out. Figure being the active word, because the figure is financial, but the motivation comes from the trust in yourself that you will be able to figure it out and continue to be able to figure it out. Because you always need to be able to expand to your potential, to expand to what you want. And it's easier to not expand at all, knowing that you are on this track for this amount for the foreseeable future, and you only have to make good on that. That type of security is worth something, but the amount that you are on borrowed time with that model is where it starts to hurt, and you lose time for the other things that are very important to you, and that's your payment. Next, self-discipline. Create momentum. Do you know, I started this conversation with my best friend recently, and I asked her, when did we decide that discipline was aspirational, when we use that word as a negative for our children? You talk about disciplining your child, and yet you're supposed to get excited about self-discipline in your life. It's crazy. It makes no sense. And we kind of decided right then, like, we should not be saying we are going to discipline our kids, because we are supposed to love, respect, and fall into a great cadence with discipline as we grow up into our life. Because the more of that productivity infrastructure that we have, the more fun we can have. If you do the things you have to do, you get the momentum, so you have more time to do the stuff you want to do. That's like fundamentally it. So we can't use this word discipline as a negative. We're taught that it's negative at an early age, and then when someone like me comes along to your YouTube channel, watcher, viewer thing, and says, we should all get more self-disciplined, you're like, yes, I should, because mom and dad told me discipline, discipline, discipline. And so I know I should be doing that, and I'm not going to. But I'm gonna listen to you talk about it. Diligence is the mother of good luck, and God gives all things to industry. Then plow deep, and while sluggards sleep, and you shall have corn to sell and keep. The conversation about having luck is so interesting to me because a lot of what happens is luck. But what happens being lucky has to do with circumstances. And if you've done something to make your circumstances more likely to hit a certain type of luck, can't win the lottery if you don't play the lottery, then you're just not gonna see it. So diligence, showing up, getting in those moments where you have been disciplined to pay your dues and you do it consistently, that is the mother of good luck. And it's hard to remember that because you're like, YOLO, I wanna have fun and do the things. Get that, totally. But you can have fun and do the things with that same security of, I put my time in to the things future me needs. Thank you, previous me, for doing that, because I need it. Next, small habits equal big outcomes. Constant dropping wears away stones. And by diligence and patience, the mouse ate into the cable, and little strokes fell great oaks. The chipping away, the chipping away, the chipping away, the chipping away, it seems like it's just a little chip until you see what you have broken through over time. What have you broken through? It's insane to me that I thought to myself, I'm gonna upload a video to the internet. I made that decision, and then I made it again, and then I made it again, and then I made it again, and then I made it again. And had I not done that, I wouldn't have gone on to become a public speaker, a published author, a award-winning YouTube creator, a multiple seven-figure company CEO, woman, founder, like all these things. Like I can go on. They wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met my husband. Like, none of these things would have happened if I didn't say, I'm gonna upload a video and push publish. I'm gonna upload a video and push publish again, and then again, and then again. And then, hey, I'm actually, doing a good job of this, but now I'm gonna do it 3 times a week without miss. Everyone's gonna remember Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, me. And I did that for 3 years, and that grew the channel. All of these things, these small habits, and every video that was painstakingly not getting views or likes, I didn't care. I stuck with it, and eventually things changed. Nobody likes that word eventually, but when you see what happens with eventually, the big outcome, you're so grateful. There are no words for that. Now imagine that not just with your time, imagine that with your money. Small habits, big outcomes. Knowledge compounds faster than money. This one is so interesting. I love this because it reminded me of a quote that my business coach says all the time. He says, you don't know how much you're worth. I want you to imagine everything you've ever learned, every experience you've gone through, every relationship you've made, every book you've read, it's all sitting next to you right here. It's taken out of you completely and it's sat right next to you. How much would you pay to get it back? Oh my gosh, like it just gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. I would probably, minimum 25 million dollars, easily. I want it all back. I want that wisdom back. I want that problem-solving ability back. I want that experience back. I want that adversity back. I want all of it. I don't want to go back to a previous version of me that forgets any of that, even though I can't possibly remember all of it. I'm so glad that I went through it because it has turned me into who I am today, and I am only possible as I am today and the potential for who I am in the future if I have all of this back in me. Knowledge compounds faster than money. What are you doing to improve your knowledge? The eye of the master will do more work than both his hands. We put a lot of stock into the hows of it all. Let me do all of the things. But there are significantly less things to do when you take all of that all this knowledge, all this experience, and you just sit back for a second and go, what is the most impactful thing that I could be doing? And how do I go totally pro and 10x that? Because everything else would be moot. Everything else would be pointless. Everything else would be pointless. It's all details. It's all whatever. If I just do the most important needle moving thing and stay focused on that, knowing what I know until I know better, what does it look like? How easy is it? It's actually a lot simpler than you might think. Watch for stupid tax. I like this phrase a lot. This is a phrase that I use when I talk to somebody who's going through a ton of regret, a ton of I could have done better, or why did that happen? And they say, oh, and I have to pay this and I have to do this or maybe they don't have to pay anything at all, but they have to just go through what they have to go through in order to go through it. And I just sum it up and I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like you have to pay some stupid tax. Why not just chalk all that up to stupid tax? Stop remaining idle because of stupid tax. Pay it off. Here's how you pay off stupid tax. I'm done with it. It's over. We're not talking about that anymore. I am moving on. I'm paying stupid tax for a former version of me. Even today, me is the effect of past decisions. So pay the stupid tax and move on. Move it along. If you're looking for better, you have to emulate what that looks like for it to ripple to your future. So pay the stupid tax, be over it, be done. Taxes are inevitable. Pay it, be grateful you paid it, and you moved on from it. When people asked Father Abraham, how are we supposed to pay the taxes? He said, friends, the taxes are indeed very heavy. And if those laid on by the government were the only ones we had to pay, we might more easily discharge them. But we have many others, and much more grievous to some of us. We are taxed twice as much by our idleness, 3 times as much by our pride, and 4 times as much by our folly. And from these taxes, the commissioners cannot ease or deliver us by allowing us abatement. However, let us hearken to good advice, and something may be done for us. God helps those that help themselves. Pay the stupid tax, because you know what? You are only going to pay more tax the more you stew on it, you complain about it, you try to get out of it, you focus on it. It just keeps going up. The fee just keeps getting greater. This book is the ultimate in perspective, and the final tip being that wealth is a mindset. It's not just about money. Productivity is about freedom. So many of us get caught up in the busyness of productivity. Oh, I can't use that app unless I add some things to my to-do list. No, don't add the things. Remove the things. It is about freedom. It is about being choosy. It is about knowing your worth. It is about saying, this is what it is today, but how do we make it different? How do we make it better? How do we make it more valuable? What would need to be true? Wealth is in having that freedom and ability to make a change. We all have that. If you are watching this video, you have the ability to say, I decide what freedom looks like for me. And that's what I hope that you'll take from this. This is just a fun cover that gets your attention. But it's a good thing it gets your attention, because hopefully it'll change your life. That's what I thought about Benjamin Franklin's The Way to Wealth, and why it's actually a productivity book more than it is a money book. If you're ready for a new future and you want to reinvent yourself, click here and I'll see you there.